But Igor, there is some hope for Milchek and his redemption arc, right?
Wrong.
I mean, every time I start to have some kind of hopes for his redemption, he pulls something like this.
But
On you go.
At this point, I'm already like,
On you go.
Yeah. Say
On you go.
again. I dare you. I double dare you, mother.
Hello everyone and welcome to Geek Anime channel. I'm your detective host Igor, and today we are continuing to deep dive into Severance Season 2 Episode 7. I have already one video released. It's more a cohesive explanation kind of video about main themes of this episode, and this video is gonna be only for the true hardcore fans. We're gonna go through the Easter eggs, for the small little details, and we're gonna enjoy the hell out of them. So if you are ready, let's dive in.
these facts should be very pleasing. Try to enjoy each equally.
And I actually want to start with Mark's and Gemma's house interior. If you didn't know, they filmed all of those scenes in the house that belongs to the director of this episode and the main cinematographer of the whole TV show. So it's kind of cool they were able to implement all of those small details into someone's house. And we can see here one of the posters. It's basically some kind of French World War I poster that's basically saying Banque Nationale de Crédit. So the poster is real poster, obviously, and it's something that tells the French citizens that we are at the last step. We need one last push to defeat the enemy, and in order for you to help us, you need to invest your money in something that's called war bonds in the Banque Nationale de Crédit, the French National Bank, probably. Well, during war times, you need more money, you need more finances, you need more budgets, and the only people that can help you with that usually are your citizens. So this is exactly what the French government did here. I don't know if it's connected somehow to our story, and I honestly don't really care at this point. I mean, I'm gonna have some of the interesting ideas and some of the interesting observations in this video that definitely connect to our storyline, but some of them are just gonna be us geeking out about one of our favorite TV shows, maybe even our favorite TV show. So we have also like the International Dictionary of Webster, we have a couple of posters. One of them is something probably from the Russian literature, one of them from World War I. It basically symbolizes the two people that live in this house. The whole cinematography of this episode was amazing. It told us a whole story of two people, how they worked, how they enjoy life during this time, during those 5 years before everything happened to Gemma. So it's just a very beautiful episode. Now, there are two books here that I was able to deduce. One of them is Secret History of the American Revolution by Carl von something. I can show you right now on the screen who is that. Once again, we have some references to the Revolutionary War. We also have some references to Virginia through a lot of MDR files. But so far, it does look like the MDR files, their name is basically just being taken out of, out of where, and it's just something that sounds nice, different location. So maybe it is something, maybe it's not, but as soon as I see Virginia, since a lot of the MDR files are somehow connected to the state, yeah, so I noticed those kind of things. Anyway, we have also the War and Peace. This is the biggest book by Leo Tolstoy. As you remember, this is probably one of the most favorite authors for Gemma. In my previous review, I talked about this. 3 books already are at least referenced, like in detail, in the scenario, and here a lot of other mentions. We have here War and Peace, and this is his biggest book, but there's gonna be some more. We're gonna get there. Anyway, there's also some books that are written in Russian, like The World and the Eros, whatever you want to call it. This is basically a mix-up of different stories by different philosophers from Greece, etc., that are talking about love and the world. And we also noticed that Gemma, the actress, was speaking in very fluent Russian. Like usually when American actors trying to imitate Russian language, it doesn't sound good. It sounds way worse than what I hear right now from my accent. So yeah, but right now we were all impressed. And I can tell you from my Russian channel and from my Russian Telegram group, everybody was impressed with the actress, the way she said it, like she's asking, what is that? This is when she's talking about the bassinet that Mark bought. She's saying in Russian, and it's kind of cute that Mark already knows exactly what she means because they're already together for a while. So it's, once again, very interesting, nice detail.
Что это?
And if we're talking about Russian references, more Russian references, all of those dolls that you see on the shelf, they are very thematic. I can even remember, I think my grandmother used to have some kind of dolls like that, very similar to that. There is something here that is written Spas. This is probably the beginning of the word Spasiba, thank you. Maybe it's something else, maybe it's somehow also related to religion, because Spas is also saving, but it kind of looks like there's the continuation for this word. So probably it's just a thank you. And another doll, like you can see it here, and you can see it also in Gemma's office. This is a very Russian doll. This is not the usual Russian doll that we are used to see on American movies that opens up and there is another doll inside. But this is also a very Russian, a very Soviet kind of style. And yeah, just once again, a very small little detail, and once again, a testament to how much time and effort the crew behind this TV show puts in order to create this fantastic world and make it as believable as possible for us. Now, we also remember in episode 3 when Reghabi was trying to create more connection between Mark and his memories. She tried to use this pendant, and we seen this pendant when Gemma was wearing it in the fertility clinic. Once again, another small detail, and this is why Mark is keeping it. This is a memory of his wife. And here we're gonna have some questions because we are moving to the hell floor. And many of you in my previous video pointed out that, you know, this is probably some kind of a kid's eyes test, because kids sometimes they don't really know letters, and you just put some kind of a drawing and you put it on a different sides, and then the kid whose eyes are being examined, he has to say like, this is a C that it's on the left, this is the C that is on the right, this is the C that stands straight, whatever. And here we have this gold test. But then again, this room where she is being examined, Gemma, this is part of her whole apartment. This is exactly right next to where she lives. So this is only for her. The room, this one, is only for her. And I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any babies inside. So it's either they were just joking, they wanted to put something with goats because they love goats, or maybe Lumon was planning for Gemma to get pregnant there in this place and raise her kid there. But then again, why only the eye test? There's absolutely nothing else that is somehow related to raising children or babies or whatever. So my money is on the first option, but once again, anything can happen. So let's look at the room. As I told you, this is the place where Gemma is being examined probably every day. We can see this kind of round thingy that Dr. Evil was using in order to get some kind of I don't know, a brain reading from her in the, you know, in the second part of this episode. And when she leaves it, she goes straight to her room. This is where she sleeps. This is her bed. This is where she washes her face. This is the shower. So as I told you, it is part of one same room. And here, and also in Allentown room, we can see that only like kind of a beige and greenish colors are prevalent. Like here, this is the same color palette, the same scheme like here. I don't know if it means something, but it's probably somehow connected. I don't know what they are trying to create here, why it's all the time in those kind of colors, what it's supposed to mean. Maybe you have some kind of idea, but it definitely looks like there is some kind of a connection here. So anyway, moving forward, and as soon as she leaves the place where she is sleeping, this is like the bedroom, she goes to the living room. And in the living room, we have like a couple of chairs. We have something that looks like some kind of a solitaire. The only thing I was able to find is this one. So maybe it's something once again to give her some brain work, something that she will be able to train on it, or maybe even once again run some tests on her. Another thing we have here is the UV, because she doesn't really see the daylight, she doesn't really go outside at all, even though there is something that kind of bugs me here. Maybe it once again is just some kind of an inconsistency, but yeah, she probably at least 99% of her time at this hell floor doesn't really see the daylight, she doesn't really get sunlight, so they are using UV in order for her to get some vitamins and etc. and not become pale like a freaking vampire. So the books that she's reading, as I told you, another Tolstoy books that I was able to see here is Anna Karenina, and another book that I was able to read here is The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky, once again another Russian classic author. We talked about both of them in my previous video. Looks like they all somehow related to Gemma and her journey. But then again, I have a question, I guess. I mean, I understand that you teach Russian books and Russian authors. Yeah, cool, but that again, like, there are different books than that. You can read something for your enjoyment other than Tolstoy and Dostoevsky. Anyway, this is just me bugging Gemma. So here we can see that she has like a kitchen, and we've seen those kind of droplets here that she can use and use some kind of a magical technique that create them and turn them to cakes. And as you noticed, all of the cakes are in the shape of a drop. Once again, everything is supposed to be branded for some reason. It's not like Gemma really needs some brainwashing in order for her to become Lumon Employee of the Month. She clearly doesn't want to be there on the floor, and I don't think that the cakes in the shape of the drop are gonna help with her motivation and her trust towards the company. Another thing that we have in the room is the music player, and we're gonna talk about music. And here we can see something very interesting. I mean, look at the room and look at the fertility clinic. they were deliberately showing to us that they're pretty much similar. I mean, almost the same. The structure, the plan of the walls and the door, it's identical. It's one-to-one. Maybe even when they were filming it, probably it's a studio or something like this. It's not a real place. Maybe they just recreated the room once again in different style. So the question is why? I mean, once again, the answer can be an artistical one. It's like they want to show us that this journey is trying to, blend in their mind their memories of Mark reintegrating and Gemma going through hell with all of those innies there. Everything kind of looks mixed. Or maybe there is something else in our conspiracy theories. Maybe once again there is something about fertility clinic. Maybe it's somewhere on Lumon's floor and it's the same as this room. Maybe it's even on top of it. I don't know. Every idea can be plausible at this point. So when Gemma leaves, we actually can see that her room obviously doesn't have a name on it. There's no Allenson, there's no Wellington, there's no Cold Harbor, nothing. But next to her, there's another room with no name on it, and it looks identical to this room. So maybe there was somebody else there. And when we look here at this moment, when she leaves the door, we can clearly see that behind her, like this is once again, the perspective here is different on this shot. Behind her, there's another door. And if we're gonna look at this scene when she's trying to escape already in the night, we can see when the camera is going around her, we can see that there are definitely 4 rooms. So if there are 4 rooms, who they are for? Maybe one for the nurse and one for the doctor, but it only gives you 3. Or maybe there were initially 4 subjects there, and maybe Gemma is the only one who can reach, the illumination part of this process. So on this floor, as I told you, there are many rooms. All of them have name of the files, and we notice, and I talked about this in my previous video, that some of the files are actually being refined by different people, not just by Mark. There were Tom Water, there were Sienna, they were refined by Dylan G, and one of them was refined by Haley R. So we have like the Subchoppy, the Adelaide, whatever, but here when we look at the files that Mark is refining, this is his files already. We can see first of all many new names that we didn't have so far, like Zurich and Loveland, Merida, Subchoppy, Vilnius, Wellington, Billings. Most of those files were not in front of our eyes, and it's logical because most of those files were refined before the Severance Season 1 started in TV show's chronology events. Stay with me for a while. As soon as Dr. Evil is interviewing Gemma, he's asking her like, how many rooms did you visit? She's saying 6. This is probably implies that this is the same day that started this episode, when the nurse told her that today she's gonna visit 6 rooms, and this is already the end of that date. But when he's talking about the rooms that she visited, he's saying the Billings, the Lucknow, the St. Pierre, the Cairns, Zurich, and of course Wellington. This is where her mouth was hurt. This is the dentist room. All of those files, the St. Pierre, Zurich, everything that we're saying right now, Cairns, this is all Mark's files. So in my previous video I was saying that since we have seen the rooms Stanwater and Sienna, probably all of the refiners are working for the sake of Gemma's mission. But now I'm already not that sure about it. If there are rooms there, it doesn't really mean that she goes inside of those rooms. And then again, it doesn't answer why there are many more refiners' offices around the world. I mean, there's Lexington Letter, there's somebody from Italy there. If all of them are working for only Gemma's sake and Gemma's mission, something here doesn't add up. So maybe there were initially 4 people and now they are focusing only on Gemma, or maybe once again, just like with our Audis, when they go inside of those rooms, the other 3 subjects in this floor are just not shown to us, because as soon as Gemma leaves, it's been managed that way that she's not going to be able to see anybody else. So this is once again just an idea to put there. Now also there's an interesting moment here when we see the Watchers, and the Mark's Watcher, he is the one that's showing Gemma. So he's watching not only after Mark, he also has eyes on Gemma, which means, and once again I know it's a stretch, that he is assigned to her also, that there is a connection between Mark and Gemma here. Now the thing that kind of bugs me here is that when we see that Gemma is returning from her gym workout or something like this, when she's coming back to her room, we can see that they are coming straight from the elevator. I mean, look at those images. This is when they were after the turn already that they took in the beginning of the episode, and right now when we look at this image, they are very close to the elevator. So is she coming back from the gym from the upside floor? Maybe she was doing some kind of a workout, maybe even outside, who knows? But it kind of looks like that she was not in one of the rooms that are in this floor. And by the way, thank you so much for your comments, because a lot of you noticed that this device, the Woo meter that's been used to test Gemma's emotions or some shit like this, is actually an equivalent of the E meter used by Scientology. There is a very interesting video about this in Alexa's something podcast. I will leave a link to you. I listened to it. It's kind of pretty funny and interesting. Also, they even have those two devices that you have to hold in hands, just like Gemma did in the episode. I mean, here we can see John Travolta here holding those bag scans, whatever you want to call them. So thank you so much, and probably I'm gonna have to start reading about Scientology, and I really don't want to, but then again I want to be in the loop of everything that happens in this TV show. So here we have the music, and when Gemma is listening to the song, it's actually I'll Be Seeing You. This is the same song that Mark was listening to in season 1 when he was gluing back the picture of Gemma that he turned apart, and it's probably some kind of their song, and this is why Gemma is missing him so much. This is right before she tries to escape because she really wants to see her husband. But once again, something is wrong about Gemma. Even though she's still the same, she's obviously way more reserved. She doesn't show any emotions. She doesn't show despair, and like something that they probably removed from her brain, from her personality. And even though she feels something, it's way less than it used to be, because when Gemma was dating Mark, when they were married, she was shining. The smiles, the emotions was there, completely there. And on the hell floor, she's more robot-like, she's more cyborg-like than a human. Another thing that I didn't mention in our previous video is that when Gemma is entering the room with the dentist, he is whistling the same song that we discussed in episode 5, you know, the wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald. And by the way, when the doctor is saying like I should have been an accountant like my mom wanted, it right away made me think about all of the mom stories from Miss Selvig. And if you remember, like Reghabi is saying like she is a soldier, she was raised by them, probably from a very, very young age, maybe even as an infant. So they are completely brainwashed, and maybe all of them didn't have moms, and this is why all of them have stories about mothers that are actually aren't true, obviously. So I don't know what it is, if there is a connection or not, but it kind of looks like one, and kind of gives us an insight into Lumon's employees' psychology. Also here we can see that in episode 5 he's wearing the same shirt, he's having those two blue pants in his pocket, and this is the same blue pants that we see in here in this image. So maybe this is a time reference. And let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video that explains this episode 7 in the chronological order, trying to connect it to the events that we have seen in the previous episodes. If you're interested in something like this, I'm gonna put my time and effort on it. And another interesting moment that can be used as something to deduce when everything happens is that we can see that in this room Irving, or Irving's double, already not present. This is after he was fired already, so this is one of the most recent events. The room in the Allentown when he was pretending that it's Christmas. And by the way, I forgot to mention that the song that is playing during the Allentown, the Christmas scene, is actually Baby It's Cold Outside. Maybe it's just some kind of a, like, once again, some kind of a mind technique telling you to stay here because outside is cold, Gemma, be here, don't try to escape. Or maybe it's somehow connected to Cold Harbor, to this whole experiment made by Lumon. So another small tiny detail that I really enjoy, if you can see here, Mark's double, his twin, is wearing his watch on his right hand. Maybe it's because Mark is lefty, maybe it's just a choice of some sort, but if we remember, Mark is the only one from our refiners who wears his watch on the right hand. And when we look at the others, like Dylan is on the left hand, Dylan is on the left hand, Haley R is on the left hand, Haley R is on the left hand, and Irving here also on the left hand. And here the image is a bit blurry, but you can see here that when Irving was doing his trust fall, you can see for the first time a glimpse of his watch, and it's also on the left hand. Once again, a crazy attention to details. They didn't only make them look like our innies, they actually went an extra mile and took all of the small details and made sure that everything works. Once again, Hats off to the creators. So we're moving once again to this moment. This is the Milady moment. If you remember in episode 1, season 1, they were talking like this to each other, like good night, Mlord, good night, Milady. And this is probably something that comes from, childhood. Maybe this is the way they were cheering themselves up. I don't know. This is already just my speculation. But once again, a small connection to the first episode. And here on this episode, we kind of have new badges, the drop badges. Usually we see the black drop like on Milchek and Natalie and everybody else, and this medical personnel here in this hell floor. Here we have something that is kind of empty in the inside, and on their white shirt it looks like the drop is white. And by the way, this is not my find, but if you remember in episode 1 season 2 when they show us how Lumon actually came to be, we can see that this logo, like the big logo of the company that was into medical salves, as you remember, we also are seeing this logo on Jamie Egan's ring in the end of season 1. So probably we finally can say with confidence this is where the drop logo is coming from. They used to have like a big logo with different things, and then there was a drop on those things. So time progressed and they had to remove some of the things from their logo, and they've been left only with the drop. So here we have something that I just want to read to you, because I know that some of you haven't seen the episode with subtitles, and there is a conversation between Mark and Ricken there when Devon is realizing that Gemma is actually pregnant, and I just want to read it to you because anyway, Ricken, you and I will ramble together someday, the two of us. It will be a grand adventure. And then Mark is like, I feel like we spend a lot of time together. Ricken, nah, not enough. No, Mark. Mark, really? What are we gonna do there? Ricken, did you know you can purify urine into drinkable water? Mark, why would I do that? Ricken, to experience the beauty and wonder of nature. Kind of reminds me a story about Dieter, who was doing weird things with nature. I don't know if there is a connection there, maybe not, probably not, but still, it's funny to me. And Mark, but why is it you want to do this so bad? I want to know you better. This is Ricken saying. Mark, why is it you need to have come with you? I mean, this conversation is gold. I'm so happy that I was watching with subtitles and I was reading this and laughing my ass off, especially when Ricken went full Bill Gates and he wanted to drink some pea water, whatever it is. It's just funny to me, and the whole dynamic between them. And by the way, if you didn't read the UUR, you should go and read it. There is a chapter there that is basically after Gemma's death, when Ricken is arguing with Mark about something that he has given to them, and Ricken is opened up in this scene way more than he is. I know he's kind of a goof and, like a very, very self-absorbed in his art and everything, but then again, after this book, I was able to see a human there, a person there, and it's really, really cool. So another small things, we have this TV set. We have seen this in episode 2. This is the same TV set that Helena was using to check, the kiss between Heli R and Mark. And if you remember, this is a TV from the 60s. This is the Dieter Rams. Once again, maybe it's somehow connected to German. And by the way, when Mark and Gemma are going to fertility clinic, it's called the Butzemann Clinic, which translates from German to boogeyman. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to go to the clinic that it's called like that. But once again, there's a lot of connection to German language in this TV show. Anyway, moving on, this scene kind of made me laugh. Dr. Evil is asking Gemma, what was the room when you started to feel that your mouth hurts? And she's like, Wellington. And he's like, yeah, I'm not offended, but then again, somebody would say thank you for the dental treatment that I give you. I mean, people can be so ungrateful about the work that you do for them. It's just funny to me, and kudos to the actor. And here, as I told you, the Butzemann Clinic, and this moment is once again, this is the head scratch moment. Reghabi is just looking at her computer, and there looks like there's some kind of a brain scans there, a lot of different of them, and she's looking at the waves or something. But then again, Mark is not connected to shit. To nothing. What is she looking at? What she's trying to understand? This is just a question that's gonna keep bugging me, and I'm probably never gonna get an answer to it. This scene kind of emulates the same thing that happened in the end between Mark and Gemma, when Gemma said to him that I love you and he didn't answer, and then she had to repeat herself, and then he said that he loves her. It kind of implies that the love was not on the same level like it was in the beginning because of them not being able to have a child. Maybe there was some kind of a resentment. But then again, if you remember this scene when Mark is breaking the bassinet and there's a glass of probably scotch next to him, on the next scene when he's washing the dishes, look at this glass, looks very similar to it. And also Gemma is giving him that look that everybody who is in a very good relationship knows. This is the look, we're gonna work through this shit right now and we're gonna do this and we're not gonna stop until we can put this thing behind us. And as we have seen in this shot of the Christmas, yeah, maybe they were able to move past that. Obviously not being able to have a kid, it's gonna stay with them, but they were able to move past that and understand that even though they cannot do this, they still want to be together. You know, this is a good moment to finish the video at, but still, I want to talk about something else. I'm just gonna put a couple of minutes more, maybe even a couple of seconds. I've talked about cinematography a lot on the previous video, and I just want to say once more. There are so many quick glimpses, so many quick shots that appear for just even a fraction of a second. You're gonna miss them unless you don't watch this episode on speed 0.20 or you go frame by frame. And usually this is something that I do for a living here on YouTube, because most of the time people that watch TV shows for the fun of it don't really go through that trouble. They don't supposed to. So I took all of those shots, most of those shots, that appear for just a glimpse of a second, and they're so freakishly, amazingly, beautifully, whateverly, you understand what I'm trying to say. They're fucking amazing, and I'm gonna show some of them on the screen right now, and I want to post all of them in my Telegram group, so go ahead and join. It's gonna be the link is gonna be somewhere in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching this video. I still not over, because as usual I want to thank everybody who supports me on Patreon and on YouTube. Your support, your donations is what make this channel possible, and I want to welcome 4 new motivators. We have the B Morgan, Ray Ayanami, Null Void Paranoid, and Max Underhill. If it's a Lord of the Rings reference, then hats off to you, my friend. And we also have 2 new champions. We have Melissa and Marianne Malik. Thank you so much for joining this small but awesome community. Thanks to your support, those videos are being released as they are, and I hope I will be able to always improve and never disappoint your trust that you put in me. And I have a small question to you. Soon Severance is gonna be over and we're gonna have an empty hole inside of our chest. We're gonna have to fill it with something, and the only thing that comes to my mind from the TV shows that are being released very soon, this is the 2nd season of The Last of Us. It's gonna be aired on April. And I was thinking maybe we can go and play this game together. Maybe this is something that I can stream on Twitch. I should open a Twitch channel for that. Maybe this is something that I can stream here on YouTube, but I don't really want to, you know, to diverse too much the topics of this channel. I don't want to make it live gaming channel or something like this. This is obviously not a plan, but I would love to do this with you together. If you are interested, of course, if this is something that can be interesting to you, we can go through the first 2 games, from the only 2 games, from Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2, and be ready to notice every little detail and every small Easter egg in 2nd season of The Last of Us. So let me know what you think. This is something that can be interesting for you. If yes, cool, I'm gonna open a Twitch channel, we're gonna do this together. If not, I'm just gonna do this as usual, as I do this by myself at home,
as he spilt his lineage upon the soil,
on my PlayStation, whatever. Anyway, waiting for your answers, and as usual, I'm gonna see you on the next one. Meanwhile, bye!